play, talk, and grow. So your child is talking, but now what? How do we get them from single words into sentences and conversation? With you as their teacher. You play with them for 20 minutes a day. And while you're playing with them, you want to think about the techniques I'm teaching you in this video to help build communication opportunities at home. Remember that play is fun. As you're playing, you want to reach one level higher than where your child currently is. The goal is to move from words to phrases and sentences, but it's also to build social engagement. And if you push too far, your child may become frustrated and not want to keep trying. You want to follow their lead. If you want them to stack these blocks, but they want to line them up or pretend that they're houses, that's okay. If at any point while you're playing, you feel frustrated or your child is frustrated, or they don't want to play with the toy anymore, move on, change it up. Do something new with the toys. Maybe make them garages for cars instead, or flip them over and fill them up with other toys. Make them into boxes. We want to encourage them to try new words and to communicate. So they need to feel positive reinforcement for that in order to continue to grow and expand their language. Language expansion means that you're rewording your child's utterance. So if they said, "Daddy, go," you may correct them and say, "Yeah, Daddy's going to work." And you give them a little bit more information to give them more meaning to what they said. You can work on expanding language in lots of different ways, and this is what I call pulling language from your child. Because what you're doing is you're asking questions, you're describing, you're talking about functions and features of things to help them connect all that vocabulary they have to build phrases and sentences. One of the first ways to work on expansion is through your mistakes. So by naming something the wrong thing, your child will correct it. "Oh, this is a frog." And they'll say, "No, that's a turtle." You'll go, "Oh, you're right." And then you can talk about the describing. "Oh yeah, it has a shell. I see, it's a turtle. Silly me." By you making mistakes, they think it's really funny and it helps them trigger that word finding of, "Oh wait, no, that's not what it is." You could call colors the wrong thing. "This is blue." "No, it's not. It's red." They'll correct you. And if they don't correct you, you correct yourself to make sure they know it's the right thing and that they're not calling this one blue now. So you might say, "Oh, Mommy was wrong. Wait, this is red. I'm so silly." And you correct that yourself. Another way is through questions. You can play the yes-no game. Yes-no is a really easy way to help them shape the language that we're using. So if I would say, "Is this a cat?" And they might say, "No." And I'd say, "Oh, is it a dog?" And "Yeah." And then you can also ask different choices. Which one do you want? Do you want green or red? And have them make a choice. If they're still working on those colors and building into that next basic concept level, then by modeling that through a choice, do you want green or red? They hear the word and then they can choose red or they can choose green. And then they've already heard it. So you're surrounding them again in that language so that they can use it to answer your questions. You also want to build vocabulary. So when you're teaching new words, you want to describe what it means, what it is. So they know bird, but maybe they don't know what birds eat. So let's talk about the pictures on the boxes. Looky, your bird is eating a worm. Do you know where worms live? Oh, they live in the dirt. The bird has to find the worm. So when you have new vocabulary and new concepts, you want to give as much description as you can so your child will understand what those words mean. You can expand this into, let's find all the animals and their food. Can you find the turtle's food? Look, it's a carrot. These boxes are great because they have these perfect little visual pictures that are really colorful that talk about all the animals and their foods. So it's a fun way to work on this describing, because our next way of expanding language is through describing. I've talked about it throughout this video, that to describe the items can be challenging for new language learners. So they know that this is a turtle, but they can't tell you much about it. So we want to work on saying, "Oh, it's a green turtle." Those early basic color concepts talk about its parts. It has a shell, it has 4 legs. Look, it has a little tail. Talking about the parts of it, talking about what it does, where it lives. These are great ways to build vocabulary around a single noun so they now can talk about it in different ways. I find sometimes children who are struggling to learn language and to build sentences, they have lots of vocabulary, they have lots of single words, but they don't connect them in order to build that sentence. So they need you to help model and guide them. So if they've said turtle and then you've said, oh, where does the turtle live? And they say farm, you go, oh, the turtle lives on the farm. And then you say, you try and see if they can imitate that sentence back. The turtle lives on the farm. If that's too hard, you may simplify to the turtle on the farm. Sometimes I finger count the words or the parts of the phrase. The visual sometimes helps. The turtle on the farm. That way they can hear all those words. Using the finger counting is a great trick that I use a lot to help children sequence the words in a sentence. Something else to work on expanding language is their comprehension. You want to work on their ability to follow directions. So you might ask them, pick up the yellow block and put it on the orange block. And they would pick it up and they'd put it on. They may need some help with this at first because they're needing to understand the color, the name of the object, and then where it goes. But you will get there the more you try. With all of these skills, it's repetition. Repeating and doing it over and over will help your child learn the meaning and understand what they are supposed to do and what these words mean. And the last way to work on expansion is through pretend play and role play. One of my favorite things to do is switch on with a child to be they're the teacher and I'm the student, to where they have to tell me what to do. So I'll say, okay, what do I do? And they'll tell me, get the block. And I'll say, oh, okay. Because they don't use those specific words, right? So there's lots of blocks. So I'll say, which one? Oh, the red one? And they'll go, no, that one. When children don't have a lot of language, they tend to use very non-specific words. That, this, here, there. So your job is to model then and give them the words to use. So if they say that one, you go, oh, the yellow block? And they go, yeah. And you say, can you tell me? And they'll say the yellow block. You go, okay, I have the yellow block. Where does it go? Use your facial expression, use your gestures. It keeps your child engaged with you and it makes you seem more animated and fun as you're playing with your child. And they'll say here, and I'll go, oh, on the blue block? And they'll say, yeah. And I'll go, okay, can you tell me? And they'll say the blue block, and I'll go, all right, I'll put it on. Getting them to play directions with you, you give them directions, they tell you directions. You could talk about where the animals go, put him in the house, put the dog on top of the house. Uh-oh, put him under the house. Where did he go? You can play games that way. This is a really fun toy that gives you lots of functions to work on all these language expanding skills. Being exposed to the language will also ensure that they start to produce spontaneous language in a natural way. Some children don't respond right away. This takes time, but through repetition and while playing with your child, you'll start to see progress as they start using new words, they start producing longer phrases and sentences, maybe following more directions, and even turning to you to listen to your words more. If your child doesn't appear to be progressing with their language and they aren't able to build phrases and sentences or to imitate your words, please contact your local speech therapist and to see if you need an evaluation. If you have further questions or you want help from me, I'm available for phone and video consultations. I really hope you enjoy the Friendship Tower and playing with your child and helping their language grow.